Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Gotham as well as the latest episode of Arrow. Like always, if I'm talking about something that you want to listen to, you can also look in the description down below. I include a time when I start talking about each of the respective shows. So, for example, if you want to hear what I say about this week's episode of Gotham, you can skip to what I say about this week's episode of Arrow. But the first thing I'm going to talk about is this week's episode of Gotham. A lot of interesting things kind of went down in this episode. The whole Jerome situation caught me off by surprise, especially when Bruce was with him. I was like, "You're looking normal." I was like, "Okay, I get it." So I was like, "Oh, are we going to?" Because I was wondering, like, is he going to like do a duality thing where it's kind of like I've been using that word a lot lately too. Just, I always have my favorite words for whatever reason, but in this case, I thought maybe he do some Joker stuff, but try to pretend to still be Jeremiah, or at the very least, maybe he switched back and forth. But it's like, oh. But then I was kind of like, the fact is that you weren't, I was like, oh, you got to be the one behind everything. But then he openly tells Bruce, it's like, no, actually my brother got me with the gas. I was like, oh, I was not expecting him to tell Bruce that. But he lies and goes, well, I've been seeing, Jerome everywhere. And I was like, oh, so maybe that is what this is? Maybe that is the case. I don't know. Especially because he kind of fed into that when he started doing, like, acting crazy. Like, oh, Jerome, he's still alive, acting all crazy and stuff like that. And going as far as being like, Bruce, I know you're actually Jerome disguised as my brother. I'm like, okay. So he might legitimately not be playing that up. I guess I think maybe he hid it away because like he was able to kind of keep himself calm, so he hid what had happened to him. Because like we saw what happened to his complexion and everything with the last gas he got hit with. So I was like, But it does seem like everything was orchestrated by Jeremiah. He was just pretending to be Jerome. Lucky you have a twin brother and everything. That way, all you have to do is put on a little makeup and you can fool everybody. At first, I guess in retrospect, it's like I had a feeling, but I like things throughout the episode come and go, maybe I'm wrong. But it's like I was right the entire time to think. Especially like I said, the first key sign was the fact is he covered up everything. It's not like he outright told Bruce, but obviously, like I said, he came up with explanations and excuses, and just his erratic behavior made me go, oh, so maybe it is kind of messing with him, but he's trying to fight it. So it's like, no, it seems like he's completely given into it. Like everything he did this episode was everything was orchestrated by him. Because I should have figured as much, because especially when what turns out to be Echo, which I did like her showing up and almost dressed like a Harley Quinn. It is kind of interesting to haven't introduced to Harley Quinzel yet, but to be isn't her full name Harley Quinn Quinzel, or is it no? I know Harley Quinn comes from her first and last name, so I guess her first name was just Harley, wasn't it? Or what? I can't remember what her name was. I'm always blanking. I know definitely her last name is Quinzel. I guess her first name was just Harley. Anyway, I guess this could be around the time they introduced her though, because because I do know like typically she's introduced as his doctor first, and then spending time with the Joker, he kind of taps into the kind of crazy person inside of her, and she kind of falls in love with him. So, which is it's just kind of interesting. They're setting Echo up like that. Side note, I want to point this out too. Am I remembering wrong? But has Echo not said a word since the episode she was in where she knocked Jerome out? I think that's the only time she talked, and it was only in that part. Every other time she's been around, she's been silent, right? Definitely didn't speak a word this episode, which is kind of interesting. But nevertheless, the thing that really kind of I should have really known something was up was when Jerome left that message like, oh, like this is me kind of beyond the grave. I'm like, for one, it's like Jerome, he's somewhat of a thinker. Sure, he orchestrates some plans, but he doesn't think that far in advance. Because Jerome's too self-centered to actually believe he would have died. When it's coming down to the final moment, sure, but to think that far in ahead, there was no part of him that was probably thinking he was going to get caught. Maybe might have thought it was a possibility, but he was probably so certain all his ambitions were going to go true because he probably didn't think about that stuff. He was so focused on his own goals, he didn't think he was going to die. So that's kind of where it should have been like, okay, yeah, because because it seems like it's very interesting too, because they're taking the Joker character in a very interesting direction. Because obviously, like you have Jerome kind of being like typically what you associate with the Joker, just kind of being a crazy person. But it seems like Jeremiah is going a little bit about a different way. He's like, the fact of the matter is, the gas, it didn't work on me. I might as well have been like sprayed with water. But he's like, I'm going to do what my brother couldn't do. He's like, I'm actually going to outshine my brother, which is interesting. That's what your goal is, to basically everything Jerome ever thought about or dreamed of, like he's going to do it. Because the only thing that kept Jerome from completing his goal is the fact is he was insane. But it's like me, I'm 100% sane. I will burn and destroy everything with sanity. I will go beyond what my brother could reach for. It's like he wanted to kind of make Gotham go a little crazy. I want to build something new, but to build something, you have to tear something down first. So it does seem like this is fitting the narrative I was kind of wondering, because like the fires that, Ra's al Ghul, like saw in Gotham burning, because I was wondering, it's like, is he the one behind it? I was like, nah, this is most likely Joker stuff, and it seems like that is the case. So, but it's just kind of weird seeing the Joker so calm and serious like that. Like, he's not, like I said. But to be fair, maybe given enough time, or maybe something else later on, maybe he'll kind of pump himself filled with even more gas, and that'll turn him even more. But like for right now, he's not doing the whole Jerome thing. Like I said, he's calm, cool, and collected. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, it's probably something that Jerome already talked about. The fact of the matter is his brother's kind of like him. So that darkness in him just kind of came to the surface. But his darkness kind of manifested itself in a different way. Because in his mind, he thinks he's still sane. But I guess that's just kind of ironic. The insanity of it is that he's going so insane that he's going sane again, type of thing. Who was that? I forgot where that came from. I remember that specifically from something, but I don't remember what it was. Like someone going so insane that they went sane again. They got bored of insanity. I think I remember what it was. I think it was like Ben 10 or something. Like the dude who could, I think his name's Paradox. That dude, he went so insane that he eventually went sane again. I think that's where I got it from. But nevertheless, I'm going off the book here. But I think that's kind of interesting. I also appreciate the fact that he does think of Bruce as his best friend, which is kind of neat, because like I said, that's kind of one of my favorite things about the Telltale Batman games, is the fact that John Doe, Joker, and Bruce / Batman and him kind of are friends. So it seems like we're kind of leading into that a little bit. He doesn't want to actually kill Bruce, whereas Jerome kind of wanted to do it, but he's like, if I can, I'm gonna avoid it, because it's like, in all honesty, you are my very best friend. Because I think on some level he believed what he was saying when he was like, oh, you and me, Bruce, we could have done so much with the world. And maybe on some level he wants to keep Bruce around because maybe eventually he thinks maybe he could convince Bruce to switch over. I don't know if that's going to be one of his main motives. He just doesn't want Bruce to kind of get in the way so he doesn't have to kill Bruce unless he has to. I mean, the sad thing is, who's to say what kind of great things they could have gotten and done together if Jerome hadn't gotten to him with that insanity gas. So... And we do see that the generator that he makes in the episode does can double as a bomb. So hence where like Gotham on Fire is, especially at the end where he's got all those different ones at Wayne Enterprises, all those different ones. So that's going to be a lot of explosions, and he's got Jerome's whole army under him. But it's like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of them are going to look at him as just kind of like, oh yeah, Jerome. I mean, especially that poor guy that was like, yeah, Jerome wins, and then Jeremiah pulled out the gun and just shot him. It's like, no, it's me. Like I say, it's weird. On some level, he's still competing with his brother. I guess like that was kind of always a thing between them, and now like he's trying to prove himself better. It's like, my brother tried to be the best by going insane. I am going to be the best by staying sane, which is kind of interesting. I was almost half wondering, was he going to bury Bruce alive? I mean, I know he said he was going to let Bruce live, but still, he kicked him into the grave on top of Jerome, so that was kind of interesting. So. You had Jim kind of being trapped inside of Jeremiah's bunker with the generator as it exploded. Obviously, we know he got into like the safe room in time, so he's good. What's kind of also interesting about this episode too is kind of like the Lee angle. Like I said, it's always interesting because you have like these big plot points and you have like these smaller stories, because obviously the GCPD was being overrun by Jerome's people. I do love that, the fact that, because I was almost thinking like, oh wow, you're gonna open a casket, mate. It's like, oh, there's actually beer in there. Okay, interesting. But what I loved is the whole situation between Lee and Jim, because Harvey's like, hey, the door's there, I won't say anything. The fact of the matter is, Lee's done some bad stuff, sure, but it's like, you and me, we've done a lot of bad stuff too. And then you have like Jim snapping at him, don't say that crap in front to me right now. Because to him, it's like, Harvey kind of probably doesn't understand, but for Jim, it's like, that would make this decision even harder. Like, because for him, he understands what she's doing. She's kind of going on Robin Hood. And like, all she's ever wanted to do is help people. And that's all she's doing right now. Granted, might not be going about it the way he would want her to, but like I said, everyone's kind of tapping into their dark side this season, so Lee's kind of tapping more into hers again. But the problem is, Lee's kind of talking about the fact is that Jim is so constrained by like these laws that these laws mean nothing. It's Gotham, and so it's like you're trying to abide by these laws that kind of get broken, and in this crooked and broken system, it's like, you wish you could do what I can do. And Jim's like, I would let you go. I want to let you go. He's like, but I can't. And she's like, why? And my personal takeaway from it is because of the stuff that Harvey said, because they've done so much bad. Because Jim has always done excuses. He's made excuses for the bad things that he's done. Hasn't been for the right reasons. And he feels like the more bad that he does is just going to make it harder and harder to make up. Because he's already done so much terrible stuff that he can't let just the rules go by. Because like, if he doesn't follow those rules, everything kind of falls into chaos essentially. Because you let this one thing slide, and then eventually you'll start letting more and more stuff slide. Like, he's done so much because he gave in to Sophia. He let someone like her play her games, and he got manipulated, and things ended up the way they are, and he doesn't want to repeat of that. Plus, he feels like he doesn't deserve to kind of just be able to escape the rules. He's not above the law because he's broken it so many times that he owes it to stay true to it no matter what the circumstances may be, even if it's Lee. And I think that's what's holding him back the most. Because even Lee's like, you can come to the Narrows, you can, make up your own laws and stuff like that. But I don't know if... Because I don't think Jim would want that, but maybe on some level, I think he will always pull himself back because he doesn't want to go down that route. Because for him, it's like... Because probably in his mind, it's like, if I do that, won't make me any different from any other like criminal in Gotham setting their own rules, doing whatever that they want to. It's like, no, my job here is to protect the people of this city, and these laws are here to make sure that I do it and that everyone stays protected. So I don't know. You could see where that conflict could arise in Jim, and that's my mindset about it. So many good, I do like that this episode was a little jokey in many areas. I really like it. You had the whole Penguin and Butch conversation, and Butch is just so mad. He's like, the fact of the matter is, you talked about, getting me helped and everything, getting me cured and everything, but we are nowhere. We got screwed over on every chance we got with Jerome, with Lee and the Riddler. The fact of the matter is, we're so broke right now that we're literally squatting in, Falcone's place, and we're literally robbing liquor stores just to buy groceries. And Penguin's just kind of like, oh, don't worry, we're just waiting for our opportunity to strike. And you have Butch looking at him like, are you stupid? And then he shushes him. He's like, did you just shush me? I love that. That's so good. And then when there was that prison transport where they're taking the prisoners out of GCPD while it was being overrun, and then you have Riddler opening it up, and the dude's like, it's the Riddler, we're saved. And he's just kind of like, because he's looking for Lee. Boom. Next up, it's Penguin! We're saved! Takes one dude, closes it. And the dude's sitting across and like, do you ever get tired of being wrong? I'm like, that's so good. Just little jokes like that. I really appreciate it. I thought that was so good. Two things with that. Riddler did escape with Lee and calling him the smartest man in Gotham. She's like, were you awake the entire time? He's like, maybe. Which even he was kind of like, don't have me wrapped around your fingers, Lee. Which is like, she kissed him and everything under that intense moment. And I don't know, part of me is worried because it's like, to be fair, he knows that she's just using him. But it's hard to say, if Jim is around, who's to say that situation won't turn kind of opposite? And, because I think no matter what, there's always going to be something between her and Jim, which just makes that whole situation even more complicated. But sadly I don't know. Maybe it is true love. Maybe she does actually, well, not just love, but maybe she actually cares very deeply for him and has feelings for him like that. So I don't know. You have your fingers crossed, hoping for him. Like I said, even at this point in time, I don't even know if I'd want him and Lee back together, because that relationship is all kinds of complicated. There's complicated relationships, but that's super complicated, especially with the direction Lee's in. Lee's literally going through the same thing Jim is. Jim's suffered, struggled the entire series about that light and darkness. It's something everyone in the series is, him, Lee, Harvey, Bruce, all of them are struggling with that in some shape or form, but they're trying to do the right thing by any means. So, I mean, not by any means, but, on some occasions they have done the right thing by any means, which then it makes you wonder, was it the right thing to begin with if you had to do it by any means, So, and you also have Penguin and Butch kidnapping one of Jerome's followers, which is interesting because I'm curious. I really appreciate too. That was the other thing I was thinking about when they were shocking him, and you had Jim be like, Harvey, the reporters. So they lowered the trunk a little bit more and shocked the dude even more. And the guy was just still running his mouth, and Harvey just looking around, shocking him. It's just like just the little things, but because he knows that this isn't Jerome behind all of this. So Penguin's like, oh, find the person that's really behind this. So when it's all said and done, is he going to try and track down Jeremiah to work with him or not? I mean, it's like things didn't necessarily work out with Jerome. Why would you try and work with Jeremiah? Not unless it's trying to get close to him so that you can like kind of screw him over like, Jerome, did you? Or maybe it's just because you have a clearer target to hit. I mean, does Penguin really even have an army? Is Butch the only person that he really has under these circumstances? I think Butch is the only one, so... Some very interesting circumstances Gotham finds itself in, like I said, with Joker kind of coming to his rise. I'm very interested to see what goes down in the next episode, what he has planned to kind of burn the city down, and what's going to happen as a means to stopping him. Bruce, Jim, the GCPD. Also, like I said, where Penguin and Butch are going to fall in all that. And also Lee and Riddler, will they be a part of this situation or not? Will they just... Because this is all of Gotham, which includes the Narrows too. So this is going to be like a city worldwide problem while Jerome and his cronies are... I mean, Jeremiah and Jerome's cronies are kind of wreaking havoc, So it's definitely going to be interesting to see what other things Jeremiah has up his sleeve. We're just going to have to wait till the next episode to see. And now moving on to this week's episode of Arrow, a phenomenal episode. Oh my God. Dude, most of the episode is just a legal battle, but it's so good. If you don't know, I kind of like courtroom drama, so it's nice to see this kind of like pop up into the episode, but it's just the nature of everything. Interestingly enough, the prosecutor in this episode being Alex is the same actress who plays Hale on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. currently, which is funny because Adrian Pastar, who plays Morgan Edge on Supergirl, is also, Talbot on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So it's just funny that DC and Marvel, it's just a funny thing like that. But nevertheless, this is a great episode with so much stuff that went down. Obviously, everyone is coming together. Like I said, it's something I brought up last episode. I knew that Curtis, Renee, and Dinah wouldn't want Oliver to go to prison, no matter how much beef they have with him. Because especially Renee, because Renee really wants... I mean, first of all, it's kind of like, well, because if Oliver goes down, they're going to go down too. Especially because they're the ones that have been subpoenaed, which Curtis is still butthurt about it. It's like, well, maybe you're just that good at keeping your secret identity. I mean, because the only person that knows about him being Mr. Terrific, maybe it's going to be that sad situation where it's like, no one cares enough about Mr. Terrific to really care enough to look into him. Because that was always what he was bugged about, was because Agent Watson never actually came to talk to him, but she talked to everybody else, dug up information on anybody else. And let's not forget, his ex-husband knows about him being, Mr. Terrific, but I guess he just doesn't care enough. Maybe that's kind of a joke. Maybe that's kind of like a side joke. Maybe kind of that's connected to the character where no one really gives him much attention. Maybe that's what that's kind of supposed to be. I don't know. But nevertheless, I thought it was like, yeah, they're protecting their own identity. But Renee's biggest thing was like, no, because I put Oliver in this situation. I was so worried about Zoe, which, yeah, I had the right to be, but at the same time, I'm doing the exact same thing I was worried about happening to me. I'm letting that same thing happen to Oliver if I let him get taken away from his son. But Alex was super good. She was grilling everybody on everything. She grilled John about all his injuries and stuff that he sustained over the years, even drilling into Dinah about her past, in particular, the guy that quote unquote killed Vincent, before she became like a metahuman and everything, like when she was on the cover and everything. That dude, that whole situation, Sean was his name, that whole turn of events, like she did her extensive homework. So she knew exactly. And Renee wasn't going to say anything. He's going to try and avoid like perjuring himself and everything until Ricardo walked in with Zoe and is like, that piece of filth. But you even had Oliver like, Renee, it's okay. He's like, I understand what's going on. like, he's threatening your daughter to say what you need to say, and it sucks because it was ripping Renee apart because like he didn't want this to happen, but it's like being forced to. I also love Oliver's lawyer too. She's really good too, trying to like twist, like she's just really good and supportive in this whole situation because she's like, okay, typically a lawyer doesn't ask her client if they're guilty, but are you the Green Arrow? And he's like, yes, I am. And she's like, okay. She's like, what we can do is we can spin this though. It's like, that's a good lawyer too, because she's like, no, you're still my client. In fact, no matter, I'm going to do the best thing. Because I think she didn't outright say it, but I'm sure like she would kind of agree with all the stuff that he's done as a Green Arrow. He's done good for this city, which is kind of what's being thrown against him. It's like, yeah, he's a hero and everything. The fact of the matter is, because that's kind of Alex's defense, like her prosecution. It's like, hey, he is a hero, but he's probably killed more people than he's saved and stuff like that. But it's like, once again, he saved the city multiple times. Let's not forget what happened in season 4's finale against Damien Dark. Him and the entire city rose up together and fought the bad guys. So it's like, come on, dude, come on, you know? But I even love his lawyer being like, yeah, come on. But really, my client, because which is more plausible, that there's corruption in the government or that we elected a superhero to be mayor? I was like, that's such a good line. I love it. It's so cheeky. But it's also because she probably had her doubts and guarantee. Even Reza kind of, I don't know if she 100% knows, but she probably knew on some level just the way Oliver's always away and stuff like that. I don't know if she judges him for it or not, probably not, but because she was asking what will happen to William. Because, I mean, Reza kind of looked after Oliver too, so she probably, I don't know, she doesn't seem as concerned, but that's just because they didn't really give her the chance to, but it's like, she used to actually be Oliver's nanny, so, this probably bothers her on some level, especially knowing what it would mean, what would happen to William. I mean, because the thing is, William isn't actually, like, adopted by Felicity, is he? So I think, like, if Oliver did go to jail, like, William probably would be put in the foster system. Just because, like, even though she's married to Oliver, that's probably, like, I don't know if I think they would count that, but I'm sure there'll be wiggle room where it's, like, there'll be loopholes technically being like, no, she can't, even though she's technically his mom because she married. It's probably a whole thing, but nevertheless. But I love his lawyer, Oliver's lawyer being basically, okay, what we're going to do is make the jurors realize, like, oh my God, what the Green Arrow's done for this city. That way they kind of look at it from a different perspective of, I can't really convict you because of that. But Oliver's like, no, I can't. Like, literally the whole point of having this secret identity is to protect my family. Basically, everyone I love and care about would have a target on their back. Kind of like, because for him, it's like, I never intended this mission to go on as long as it did. He had his mission to stop the undertaking, and that was it. He never knew it would grow into this phenomena that it has, that it grew into this mission, this fight all on its own. And he thought maybe when it's all said and done, like he could have a quiet life, which you could make the argument, it's like technically you could, but I guess where he is right now, he isn't willing to walk away from the Green Arrow. But it makes you wonder, will he do it at the end of this season? Like, once Diaz is taken out, will he give up the hood? Will John officially take over? Like, what's that whole situation going to be like? I kind of get the feeling that might be where we're heading. It'd be kind of interesting to see what they do with that. It's kind of an early thought process, but we might even kind of get like a time skip situation going on. Potentially that could be one direction they're heading that into, but I don't know. But nevertheless, but like I said, typical superhero thing. Like, I can't let my identity be revealed. And then it's like Alex going into Felicity because it's like, oh, your dad's a criminal. It's like, oh, you didn't know your dad was a criminal. Doesn't really make you a good judge of character now, does it? So everyone was kind of getting ripped apart by her. Once again, Curtis wasn't on the stand. I'm sure it's kind of bothered him a lot. So. I mean, the fact of the matter is Oliver was looking towards the worst. He was like, hey, John, I need you to, if something happens, if I go to jail, make sure that Argus keeps Felicity and William safe. And it's just like, oh, dude, that's so... Because I was like on bated breath. I was like, dude, I don't know which way this is going. That damn Tommy situation, though, holy shit. I knew it was the human target. I knew it was Christopher Chance. The moment, Diggle... And let's give it up to Diggle kicking ass. I was like, why is Diggle and Kinsia? It's like, who is he looking for? And then you saw the person in the chair, didn't even see their face. I was like, that's got to be the human target. I knew it. I was like, yeah. Who's he going to pretend to be? It's like, how are you going to play this off? Having him be freaking Tommy Merlin, bro. That's so good. And it shocked Oliver. I was like, oh, Oliver didn't know about the plan. It's like, no, Oliver knew. He just didn't know he was going to take on Tommy. And that's just so good. It's nice to get to see that actor who plays Tommy just popping in a little bit. Because earlier, he popped up earlier this season. Yeah, during the Heroes versus Aliens, because he was Prometheus. So that was kind of nice having him come back just for a tiny bit like that. That was so neat. And him being like, yeah, saying all the right things. And obviously it's like, well, you just come up popping up out of nowhere. And I love it being like, it's like, well, I guess we got to arrest him. It's like he's a Green Arrow. It's not like we can just let him go even if he's not really the Green Arrow. And it's like, and he's talking to Alex. He's like, well, if it makes you feel any better, I got a team who's going to most likely break me out before I even get to prison. So kind of make it face. I was like, oh, it's so good. He was so charming as Tommy. I loved it. It was so good. And the lies and everything. It had to be hard for Oliver. Because also, like I said, let's not forget the last time he saw Tommy's face, it was that situation of him being Prometheus from Earth X. So it still had to hit him hard. So, hey, I mean, who knows? Maybe in an alternate reality, I mean, there are 51 other Earths. So who's to say, like, Tommy isn't the Green Arrow in one? I mean, we know, I'm pretty sure on Earth 2, his dad is the Green Arrow. So, I mean, you never know. I mean, we see that he's Archer Prometheus in Earth X. Who's to say he isn't the good guy in some other one? But nevertheless, that's beside the point. But that was so good. And then, like, and when it was like, okay, and what did the jury they like, oh, he's guilty. I'm like, oh no, that sucks. And then it's like the judge kind of agreed with what the lawyer said, and they're like, yep, you're right. And I'm like, wait, what? So the judge is a good guy the entire time. It's like, nope. Chance again. It's like, oh, you doubled up. And I even love the line he gave Oliver. He's like, hey, so make sure like you don't, and try not to use my help again, at least for not the next year. I'm like, that's so good. I love it. Oh, that's so good. Interesting enough, talking about the DC and Marvel crossover, he's also one too, because I don't remember if that came out before he popped up in the show or not. I can't remember. Because he pops up as Samson on Jessica Jones, which season 2 he was in it for a little bit. Avoid spoilers and everything. So it's kind of interesting, crossing over again. So I don't remember if he was in this first. I think he was in Jessica Jones first. I'm pretty sure he was in Jessica Jones first before he popped up. So in Arrow. But nevertheless, that was super, super good. Also took me by surprise was Laurel. Multiple things. For one, when Lance was like, oh, just stand up to him. And she was like, yeah. Oh, that's what your Laurel would do? If your Laurel was a little smarter, she wouldn't have gotten herself killed. I was like, that is a dick thing to say to the person that's trying to help you under these circumstances. But it's just like, under her, she's stressed out, she's scared, she's just lashing out. And freaking Diaz scared her even more. Son of a gun, just like straight up choking her like that, because it's like, I don't believe you. Calling her babe and everything, acting like they have a relationship. He's like, oh, ever since that Federico situation, me burning him alive, you've been kind of distant, acting like you're a little scared of me. And it's like, I guess psychopaths don't really realize they're psychopaths. It's like, oh, why are you scared of me? Why don't, love me. It's like, ugh. You're an extremely crazy and very temperamental man, Diaz. Which, like I said, it just makes him such a good damn villain. I really, really like him as a villain because he's such a low-key villain. Like, just like all the things he's done to basically dismantle the heroes of Star City. It's so good. It also came out, no matter what the circumstances are, Oliver's situations also come out too because of the whole like, oh yeah, once again, Alex is she got it from Susan. I wonder what she kind of forced to. It's probably didn't have much of a choice. I mean, we haven't seen Susan since last season. So last time we checked, her and Oliver were on good terms. I don't know. Maybe she is kind of pissed at Oliver and Felicity became, I don't know. Like that relationship was never kind of like we're split. It's just kind of like she was there 1 minute and just kind of never again. So I don't know what the circumstances are. But for her to hand over that photo of him in Russia, the whole Bratva situation. I mean, granted, it shows that he was in Russia during the whole Leanne situation, but it doesn't. I mean, thank God it didn't go into more details. I wonder how much did she know about his time with the Bratva and stuff like that. He even admitted him being in Shanghai. So to be fair, he was only off the island twice in that 5 years, but still, he kind of had his own adventures during that time. But still, like I said, she's very good at her job digging up information I feel like a lot of people wouldn't be able to get to. But the thing that got me surprised was Laurel. It's like, yep, she's coming with a file to prove that the person they saw as Tommy was Chance. And once that's blown up, everything they did is going to be like, oh, you guys are trying to fool the court, so they're doubly screwed. But no, she's like, nope, the real Green Arrow is Tommy Merlin. It's not Oliver Queen. I was like, oh, everyone was like, yo! And it's because what Quentin said is like the only way you can, like, the first step to beating, no longer being Gotham in servitude to Diaz is standing up to him. And I like that. Like, that might, I think legitimately we might be seeing her kind of turning into, I'm curious, because we could see her returning as, well, no, because she can't, because I was about to say, like, Dinah is the Black Canary, so I was like, I mean, she'll probably go off on her own or something. Not unless that's kind of implying that she might die at the end of the season, or she might go back to Earth 2 or something. Maybe she'll try and be a hero on Earth 2 or something, or just go back to Earth 2. She hasn't been back to Earth 2 subsequently since Zoom brought her here, has she? Because I'm pretty sure she was locked up in a prison or something, wasn't she, during that time? Like I said, I'm still surprised that there was no, like, correlation between her and the whole CCPD situation where Siren X showed up, like, in last week's episode of The Flash. Like, I'm surprised that still didn't turn into... It would have been so good if that turned into something, but nevertheless. So she tries to stand up to Diaz, because Diaz was super pissed. And he ends up capturing her, which, in his mind, is like, yep, like, she was about to go hard. I was like, oh, so what do you have some plan? I thought, like, she had a recorder or something to possibly record, like, him admitting everything. It was like, no, she was planning to kill him herself, like how she killed Vincent. But he was prepared this time, so blocked her powers. And now he's well, I guess I have no choice. I have to kill Oliver. It was kind of interesting understanding his reasoning for doing it, too, because it was his whole point of getting Oliver locked up. I'm sure, well, because he wouldn't have to worry about coming out to kill Oliver. Because also, if he went out of his way to kill Oliver, he'd be making him a martyr. So maybe the whole point is just to dismantle the defense of Star City by putting him in jail. I mean, he could still get broken out, but still. Oh yeah, I almost completely forgot about the whole situation because of the whole Zoe thing. Like, Diggle and Dinah went hard. They went after like Diaz, but it's kind of like, come on, you really think that's gonna happen? Boys, come out. And all those police officers came out. So it's just kind of like I said, it just shows you how stacked against you this whole situation is. So, but also a good thing walking away from this episode is Renee and Oliver bury the hatchet. Like, I feel like that was like the centerfold for everything, and both apologizing, because Renee's like, he apologizes like that he let things kind of get to where they were, and it's like, admitting that he did all this so that, trying to make up for that. And Oliver's apologizes because it's like, if he had didn't put himself in a position where Renee could feel comfortable enough to be like, hey, Agent Watson is pushing me, like, can you help me? But because of what he built up at the time, Renee didn't feel comfortable enough to come into him, and he apologized for that too. So they shake hands, so they're good. Are they going to work together? Who knows? Like, who knows if Team Arrow is going to come back in the shape or form that it needs to be? Like, but I think this is a step in the right direction of burying the hatchet between them. So like I said, it's a phenomenal episode all across the board. It's so good. I'm so interested. I'm also curious, like, where Anatoly is. And I mean, because last time we saw Anatoly, was last episode. So I'm curious where he stands with all this. Also, big question is, what happens to Oliver now? Because a lot of the stuff he lied about is still out there. And yes, the corruption stuff hasn't been proven yet. Yes, he's been proven not guilty of being a Green Arrow, but there will always be suspicions, potentially. But a lot of people will probably take it as, like, Malcolm Merlin is the Green Arrow. That's going to be interesting when that gets to Thea's ears. That's going to be definitely interesting. I mean, because he's the only one alive that could because Tommy is quote unquote dead, like, no one can really refute that. So it's kind of the same thing with, like, Barry's trial and everything, because it's just kind of like, oh, in a world of metahumans and stuff like that, there's a lot you can't, in this world of craziness, there's a lot that was once impossible is now possible. I mean, to be fair, he's not a metahuman. I don't think his whole thing is, like, I think he's just that good at being a chameleon, so nevertheless. I'm curious to see what this means going forward for Oliver. Obviously, he's got a target on his back, but it also means, like, I'm sure he's not going to go running to go back to be mayor again. It's like, no, quitting, that job's yours. The fact of the matter is, with everything associated with Oliver, like I said, a lot of his past coming out, like him lying about the whole Leanne Yu situation, that's on the record now too. So that's probably going to raise a lot of eyebrows, but I'm very curious to see what it means going forward for Oliver. Like I said, it seems like literally this season might be ending with him permanently walking away from it. I mean, we know in the future, in 2049, he's not the Green Arrow, but that might have been different circumstances leading him to be that. Once again, the future is always changing too, so who's to say, things haven't changed? Like, things don't change, and the Star City's future goes down a different route. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm so excited to see what goes down. Pretty sure this is episode 21, so we literally have 2 episodes left this season. I'm so excited to see what goes down in the next episode. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good